these three sections, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, they're all about factoring trinomials. Trinomials are polynomials with three terms, okay? So our objectives will be factor trinomial by what? Guess and check, okay? Guess and check method. Actually, what is guess and check method, okay? When the coefficient of the square term is 1, okay? How do you understand square term? Square term. So the example, x squared plus 3x plus 2 has three terms. It's a trinomial, right? What is a squared term? X squared, okay? So if the coefficient of the square term is 1, does this trinomial satisfy the coefficient of the square term is 1? Yes or no? This is the squared term, x squared, right? What is the coefficient? 1. Okay, yes. So if the coefficient of the square term is 1, we can use what? Guess and check method. If the coefficient of the square term is not 1, what kind of trinomial satisfies that? Okay. See the example. This is a trinomial. This is a trinomial. So how about the coefficient of the square term? They're not 1, okay? So how do factor trinomial looks like this, okay? We are going to learn two methods, okay? One method is called what? By grouping method. The other method is called what? For you method, okay? So coefficient of the square term is 1, or coefficient of square term is not 1, okay? So section 6.2 will focus on factor what? Trinomial with coefficient of the square term is 1, okay? And then in section 6.3 and 6.4 we'll do what? Factoring trinomials with coefficient of the square term is not 1, okay? So section 6.2, section 6.3, and section 6.4, okay? Yeah, in this section we learn grouping method, in this section we learn FOIL method, okay? For square term is not 1. Section 6.2 will focus on what? Square term is 1, okay? So section 6.2 is an easier section, okay? Alright, what is the step to factoring all trinomials? I'm going to ask volunteer to read the three steps for us. Esmeralda, how about stuff from you?
1. Factor out GCF. 2. If coefficient of the squared term is 1, use guess and check method. 3. If coefficient of squared term is greater than 1, use the grouping method or FOIL method.
Very good, thank you, okay? Yeah, for factoring all trinomials, first step is always factor out the greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor? We learned it from section 6.1, okay? So you can review that, okay? Alright, step 2 and 3 is telling us. We just talked about that just now. I'm not going to repeat it, okay? Alright, so section 6.1, trinomials when the coefficient A, which is a coefficient of x squared, is what? 1. Okay, so it's like what? Factoring trinomials with what? X squared plus b times x plus c. Okay, because a equals 1. Okay, using the check and guess or guess and check method. Okay, alright, so now let's look at it. Okay, let's look at the example. Now we're not factoring, we are multiplying. How can we multiply x plus 2 by x plus 5? How can we distribute this? What should we do? Remember the FOIL method? Distribute x to x give us x squared. X times 5, 5x. And then distribute 2 to x and 5 respectively. So 2 times x, 2x. 2 times 5, 10. So that's good. Alright, so now can we combine like terms here? X squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 10x. How can we simplify this expression? Daniel?
Combine like terms.
Yeah, how? What should we get?
So it'll be 2 or x squared plus 7x plus 10.
Very good, okay. So see, we get a trinomial x squared plus 7x plus 10, okay. So the expanded trinomial is of the form this, where, what is A? A is the coefficient of the x squared, which is that? What is that? 1, right? What is the B in this trinomial? B is the coefficient of x, is what? 7. What is the C? 10. Okay? So we find out that, okay, 2 plus 5 equals what? 7. Okay? Which is also what? How to answer that question? Which is also what? The B, right? The B. So 2 times 5 equals what? 10, right? Which is also what? C. Now guys, if I'm going to ask you, can you factor this trinomial x squared plus 7x plus 10, what should we do? Factor the 10 by what? 2 factors, right? Such that the sum of those 2 factors equals what? The B. Okay, so factor C. Okay, so this is ax squared plus bx plus c with a equals 1, right? So how do you factor that? Factor the c as a product of 2 factors. And then if the sum of the two factors equals b, then we can rewrite x squared plus 7x plus 10 by what? X plus 2 times by x plus 5. You guys, this is the idea for our guess and check method. Okay, now are we ready to look at some specific question? So let's try question C, please. Factor x squared minus 6x plus 8. What should we do? What is a C? 8. 8. What is B? Negative 6. Our aim is to factor 8, right? Such that the sum of these two numbers equals negative 6. This is our aim, right? So how can we factor 8 such that a sum of those two factors equals negative 6? 8 can be factored by what? 1 by 8 or 2 by 4, right? Of course, it can be factored by what? Negative 1 times by negative 8, negative 2 times by negative 4, right? So, which way that the sum of the two factors will equals negative 6?
Negative 4, negative 2.
Negative 2, negative 4, okay? So, if we could factor 8 by negative 2 and by negative 4, then the sum of negative 2 and negative 4 will equals negative 6. So, we could factor, okay? Rewrite the trinomial or factor 8 by what? X minus 2 times by x minus 1? 4. And you can double check, right? Double check. If we follow this product, it gives x squared. Minus 4x minus 2x gives us negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 4 gives us what? Positive 8. You see that? This idea of factor the C such that the sum of the two factors equals B. Then, once we get two factors, we can rewrite it as x plus this factor times x plus this factor. Okay? Alright, so let's try more, okay? How about question number F? What is a C? Negative 8, right? How can we factor negative 8 such that the sum of these two factors equals 7? Negative 8 can be factored to be what? 1 by negative 8 or negative 1 by positive 8, right? What else? 2 by negative 4 or negative 2 by positive 4, right? Which pair satisfy the sum equals positive 7? Negative 1 and 8, right? So we can rewrite that as what? X minus 1 times x plus 8. You guys know what's good? Okay, so let's try more. Let's try H. Factor x squared minus 3x minus 10. about it, I may ask you to answer the question. Any idea? Cameron, you have an idea? No? Factor -10 such that the sum of those two factors equals -3. Try it! Write it down on the side! -10 can be factored by what?
-1 and 10.
-1 and 10, right? Yes, try. If you don't know, just write it down everything. Or 1 times by what? -10, right? What else?
2 times -5.
2 times -5, or -2 times by what? +5, right? So have you found a pair? The sum equals -3?
-5 and 2.
-5 and 2, right? Or 2 and -5. So we can rewrite this thing as what? X plus 2, x minus 5. You guys? Alright, so the idea is pretty, I would say, pretty straightforward, right? Just factor the C such that the sum of those two factors equals B. That's it. And then, yeah. Alright, our next question is, sometimes we're not able to factor directly, use a guess and check method. We have to fact out the greatest common factor first, then use a guess and check method to complete the factor, okay? So all of these questions, they are very similar type. We have to factor the greatest common factor out, and then we keep on doing the work, okay? So I'm going to lead us to do these two problems, okay? So let's look at question G. Factor x to the cube plus 8 times x squared minus 33x. Is there any greatest common factor? Does every term has any common factor? 1, yeah, is for the number, right? How about for the variable term?
Oh, X.
X, you're right. The GCF is X, okay? So if you missed that section in 6.1, please go back to review it in your spare time, okay? So we're going to factor out the GCF X. And then what can we, after we factor out the X, what can we get inside of parentheses? X times by what equals x to the cube?
X squared.
X squared. X times what equals 8 times x squared?
8x.
8x. And x times what equals -33x?
-33?
Yes, -33. Oh, see, this trinomial with coefficient of the squared term is 1, right? So are we able to use the guess and check method? Yes, we are. So factor the -33, give it a try, please, and see how can we factor this trinomial.
And 3.
11 and 3, positive 3.
Yeah, it should be positive. Wait.
When we factor -33, we should have a 11 times by -3, right?
Yeah.
11 -3, yes. Right. 11 -3. So we can factor this trinomial by x plus 11 times by x minus what? 3. You guys? Alright, question H. 2x squared minus 2xy minus 12y squared. Any greatest common factor? 2, right? Number 2 is a factor. But other than 2, does every term has an x? No. Does every term has a y? No. So the GCF is just the what? Number 2, okay? So we factor out the 2. It gives us x squared minus what? 2 is out, right? Minus xy. If the 2 is out, we should get a negative what? 6 to the what? Y squared. Oh, let me ask. Let me see. Oh, see? We have x is a variable. Where does this y come from? How can we do this type of the question? Okay, so if we have two variables, we have to factor. We consider the x squared is a main variable. Let me pull my red pen, okay? We consider x squared is a main variable. X is a main variable, okay? So the coefficient for this x is what? Negative y, okay? What is the b? b equals what? Capital B equals negative y. What is c? Negative 6y squared. Okay, so consider x is a main variable. Okay, so we know capital A is 1, capital B equals negative y, and capital C equals negative 6y squared. So in order to factor this trinomial, what should we do? We're still going to factor what? The C as a product of two factors, such that the sum of these two factors equals what? Negative y. So how can we factor negative 6y squared? I would say something times y times something times y, right? Because y squared can be factored by y times y. Negative 6, how can we factor negative 6? Such that the sum of these two numbers equals negative 1. What do you think of negative 3 and positive 2? So factor negative 6y squared as a product of negative 3y and positive 2y, and then the sum of negative 3y and 2y equals what? Negative y, right? So we can rewrite our conclusion as 2 times by what? X minus 3y, right? Times x what? Plus 2y, okay? Then I'm going to let you try one more question, okay? Then I'll let you to practice by yourself, okay? Now let's try question I. I'll give you a couple minutes to give it a try. If there is greatest common factor, factor that out, and then keep on factoring. greatest common factor?
4x squared.
4x squared, right? So yeah, 4. So GCF is 4x squared. So factor out the 4x squared. Let's see what we can have for the first term. Yeah. So 4x to the 4th power divided by 4x squared gives us what? X squared, right? 4x cubed divided by 4x squared gives us x. Negative 80x squared divided by 4x squared gives us negative what?
20.
20, right?
The 20x.
Negative 20, right?
How do you cancel?
Yeah, it cancels out as a square, right? Square. Now how to factor this trinomial? How can we factor negative 20 such that the sum equals positive 1? Negative 20 can be factored by what? If this number is negative number, C is negative, when we factor, we should get a 1 negative and 1 positive factor, okay? If this C is positive, we'll get a both positive or both negative.
I did negative 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Yeah.
Positive 4 and positive 5.
Wait, it has to be negative 20, so I'll do negative 4. And then
Yes, just now we just talked about it.
Oh.
If this number C is negative, our factor must be 1 positive, 1 negative. If this factor C is positive, we'll have either both positive or both negative, okay? So negative 4 and 5, sum equals 1. So yes, you're right. Times by x minus 4 times by x plus 5. Done.